Welcome back to Dubbzi Bricks for another episode of Building Gotham City in Lego. Yesterday when I walked out here in the morning, my heart sunk, as I mentioned in the video, and it was quite soul destroying. Today I walk out here and it's a lot more positive. Just seeing the roads roughly laid out has been great. And when I look down the other end of the city, I can see what we're aiming for here, and I think it is all going to work out well in the long run. And as I mentioned, I'm going to plough every spare minute I've got into Gotham City over the next week or two to get this back to how it was before I did all of the destruction, obviously with the changes. Now, I read all the comments on there. Thank you so much to everybody who left any kind of comment. Really do appreciate it. And somebody did say about the fact that nothing ever seems finished, and I fully appreciate that. And it is something that I have constantly done, constantly amending things. No one building is ever finished, and it is frustrating for me as well. I would like to see a polished part of Gotham City, and hopefully we will be seeing that very, very soon. Now, with the layout here, I mentioned about moving the road. So we want to move this road over this way by about 12 studs. It's a very quick, very easy thing to do, as it's just a case of peeling some plates off, moving the filler brick, putting the plates back down. So I'll get the roads done, I reckon, in probably about half an hour or so. But one thing I am considering doing is actually making the Old Wayne Tower there on its own block. So at the moment it's sharing it, or going to be sharing it, with another building. However, I'm thinking it might look better if it was standing by itself. So I'm going to move this road here down to around about there. Old Wayne Tower will go to there, and then this will be a much longer block there. I think it's going to look a little bit better. So let's make those changes first of all, and then we can start working out what we're going to work on next. And that's the 3 blocks all amended in size, and happy with the decision to make those slight changes. Having less water along here is a plus, as I have only got so many of the trans blue tiles, and where we've got the island down the far end now, that's going to take up quite a lot. So there is no necessity to have a massive amount of water along the front here. So I think it was well worthwhile. And I am thinking putting the train line along the pavement area just there, again, will look that little bit better than having it over the road. Now, with the Wayne Tower there, it's on its own block. Now, on the front here, I'm going to do some more details in this update, hopefully, where I'm going to put some trees at the front there. It'd be quite nice to have a newspaper stand or something like that along there, or maybe a hot dog stand. Those sort of things, I'm not sure where the pieces are to do that, but it is something that I will add in the future. Now what I'm going to do is concentrate on tidying this section up along here. So I'm going to put the wall back along the edge of the water, put all of the black and blue plates down ready to be tiled off. And then I've also got to work out where exactly I'm going to be putting the statue. There's a lot less room here now, so I do need to work that one out as well. And that's the statue all put in place, and the wall put a fair way along the side here by the waterfront, and I've made a start on the water. Now this section of water, originally I hadn't done all the detail to, so this is the first time it's actually had the full detail. I think previously I only came up to about there. I'm liking it a lot more having less water on here. I think it's going to be a lot better. Now I am going to be having the train line over the top of the pavement area there, as mentioned before, so I will need to pull some of the tiles up once I have worked out exactly where they're going to be and what design I'm going to use for the actual rail support as well. What I'm going to do now is turn my attention over to the base of the Wayne Tower there and get that all nice and tidy. And it's time to start making some trees for Gotham City, and these are the pieces that we'll be using. It's got the reddish brown cylinder pieces, these plant stems, plant leaves, a little flower in the green as well, a stud with a hole in the middle, and then the leaf elements as well there. So what I'm going to start off by doing are making up several pieces using this here as a centre part. Then we'll start working on the tree trunk itself. For the trees, we're starting off by grabbing one of these elements just here, and I'm going to put studs on the end 2 pieces just here. And then what we'll do is we'll cover that with the leaf elements. And the reason I put the studs on there is just to give a little bit more coverage on the actual build itself. So that's the first one all completed, and then I'm just going to put one of the flower elements onto the end just here. Now the reason I'm using this part here is it helps to attach it to the stems that we're going to be using to attach the branches of the tree to. So I'm going to grab some of these brown cylinders, and you put as many of these together as you want to determine how tall the tree is going to be. Now these trees are very fragile, that's our only problem. However, with the where they're going to be in the city, they're not going to get touched, they'll be absolutely fine. But you could put flexi tube in here or lightsaber pieces, anything that sort of width, and it'll help to with the strength of it. Next up, we're going to grab the flower stems here and put those into the end of the brown cylinder there. I'm going to put several of these in here, and each time they're going to be at a slightly different angle. And again, depending on how much you want the tree to, how bushy you want the tree and how tall again, determines how many of these you actually put on. Then grab the part we made earlier, and then you just attach that to a stem. And then that's just how that goes on there. And then just carry on building them all around. You can add a couple more of the flower pieces to the studs on the end of there as well. That does add a little bit more coverage to it. But again, you do need to be a little bit careful, as these trees, as I mentioned, they are quite fragile. And there we have the trees all in front of the old Wayne Tower. And there's a couple of other changes I've made to it. We've got the lay-by at the front there, so vehicles can drop people off at the Wayne Tower. And I've also lowered the building into the Mills Plate, as it was before I did all of the drastic changes to Gotham City. Previously, I was just going to have it resting on top of the Mills Plate and have it sort of stepped up a little bit. However, I thought it looked better lowered in. So I've actually shrunk the size of this block by 6 studs and then just added the 6 studs onto this side here. So need to amend the road markings at the back there, but we'll sort that out a little bit later on. Now what I'm going to turn my attention to is the road that's going to lead up to the raised platform. So the ramp we've got just there, and need to connect it over to the raised platform. So there's going to be quite a lot of construction needed over there. And I also want to try and push the ramp back as far as possible, because at the moment I feel like it's a little bit too close to the road at the bottom. So let's get around to that side of the city and see what we can come up with. And I've made a start on the Mills Plate just here, and I've removed the wall that was on this section just here, as I'm going to have it continuous. Previously it was just a straight line at the end there, and the next one was going to go up against it. However, it's better and stronger if I do it continuously to interlock the bricks. Same as what I've got around that part just there. Now, whilst I'm doing this part, I'm starting to think about the Wayne Terminus. Previously, we had it that Batman would be coming out of a ramp on this section here onto the road section that was going to be on here. Now we're no longer going to have the roads up here, and it's just going to be buildings and pedestrian area. We need a way for the Batmobile to be able to get out of the Wayne Terminus, and I'm thinking about doing it so it comes out this end here. So I'm just going to remove these pillars, which is a very quick, easy job. Take the arc plates off, make a tunnel which will lead to the railway line, and then that'll be it, pretty much job done. So I'm going to make those changes now, and then once I've done that, I can then start building the structure for the ramp. And here we have the start of the tunnel. So I've used some hinge pieces to get the angle in there. And I'm just going to work out how I'm going to have it at this part just here. But that's as high I'm going to go for the tunnel. So I'm going to tile that off now. Then I can put some plates across the top of it, and then carry on building the support structure above that. nicely, and we put the roof on the tunnel, so you can get all the way through to Wayne Terminus just there. But what I need to do is work out what sort of door to have on here to conceal the entrance to Wayne Terminus. It would be nice to have it so it is operational and it's just not a blocked off door that you just use your imagination so it opens. It would be good to actually have it opening and closing. So I just need to have a think about it and how I'm going to operate it. Just remember to have these doors here where I have the Raza Ghoul set. So I'm going to use those, remove the gold studs on there and just put some, I think, dark bluish grey 1x4 tiles on there. I think that's going to look really good. Just give it a more modern look, but I think that worked perfectly there. So I just need to put some pillars on there for these doors to attach to, and then that'll be it, job done. And there are the two doors in place, and I'm liking the look of them. I think they're going to look really good once they've got the bars going across and removing the studs. I am going to do a snot road on here, so I'm just going to amend the Mills plate to accommodate that. I'm not sure what I'm going to be putting here. I'm contemplating putting a small shop or something like that in there. However, it needs to be something that's not going to notice Batman coming and going with the Batmobile. So again, I might just leave it so that it's a rundown sort of area. Up the top here, this is going to be the entrance to the old Wayne Terminus, and it's going to be boarded up, so it's not open, obviously, as Wayne Terminus is no longer in use. So again, I'm just going to try and work out how I'm going to go about doing this. I'll probably leave that for the time being, and I have put a Technic plate in here with the holes in. That way I can feed a light through to the tunnel bit just there. I think that'll look quite good having that. So I'll probably put a red light in there just to give it that different kind of feel. Anyway, let's carry on amending the Mills plate down the bottom here, carry on building the slope up there. I'll check back in once I've done so. And that's the ramp leading up to the raised platform, pretty much complete now. Just need to do this section across here, the bridge. I'm hoping there's going to be plenty of strength in there. At the moment, I've just got the two beams, but I can easily do some centre supports using Technic going across as well. I know I said it earlier, but I do think it was a much better idea having the ramp in this position as opposed to down the end just there. I feel like it's taken up less room here. That was a bit of a wasted space area. I was going to put some buildings in there, but I had no idea what they were going to be. And I think I can utilise the space at the end of the table much better. With the bridge, I've got to work out what sort of design I want to have going across here. I want to try and make it as Gothic looking as possible. I've just put the arches there at the moment just for the support of that, because they've obviously built into the framework there. But in the next update, I will be concentrating on tidying that area up just there and this part here, getting it all ready for the entrance to, or the closed down entrance to the Wayne Terminus building. In this section here, I'm going to have some stairs going up to the raised platform and also a lift. I think that looked quite good, having that in that little gap there. Again, I was contemplating putting a shop, but then I thought, how will people get up the top? So I will just double check that that is what I want to do. Maybe a small shop in there will give it a little bit more pop of colour and character. But yeah, we'll have a good think about that before we make any final decisions. And along this area here, it is quite wide. I wanted to keep the road just there so it was level with this one here. I could have moved it over, but either way there was going to be wasted space, so I'll probably just put a row of trees along here again just to give it a pop of colour along there. So yeah, looking forward to getting that section all complete, hopefully in the next update. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think would be interested in building Gotham City in Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for hopping on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.